Lord Lieutenant, families, staff, council and trust, lead patron, graduates and friends, welcome to Liverpool and to our 21st graduation. Today we're celebrating the achievements of you, our students, who are graduating since your dedicated work after you joined us. It's been our aim to help you to develop your skills and give you valuable experience of performance and working effectively with others. Alongside the specific coaching and teaching within your disciplines, we've given you an understanding of the wider aspects of the performing arts, including business. In short, we've attempted to prepare you for the road ahead, wherever that might take you. You'll also have built up some enduring friendships that will enrich your life socially and professionally for many years to come. Relatively speaking, we're still a young institution, but reflecting on our achievements in 2 decades of existence, I think we can safely say that the original vision has been realised in full measure. In those two decades since our first graduation, more than 5,000 graduates have received their degrees. And we're proud that such a high percentage of our alumni find employment and stay in employment, and the vast majority in the performing arts. And later on, Mark will give us some latest figures in that respect. We continue to strive for excellence, and we have, over the last few years, made substantial investments in our facilities and so our future, as well as creating our primary school and sixth form college, both of which quickly became oversubscribed. We're currently bidding to start another free school, this time a high school, in 2021. And if we're allowed to, we can provide the teaching and learning we think is important from 4-year-olds right the way through to master's level. A key to our success is the quality of our staff. And an enduring thank you goes to our teaching staff, and indeed the entire team for their skill, patience, energy and enthusiastic commitment. Another key is the commitment that you, our students, have shown. And these 2 features exemplify our ethos, and it's why, let's not forget, as we learnt last year, that the government had decided that after examining every UK higher education institution for the quality of teaching and learning, we came the 15th in the country. Thanks are also due to the many people and organisations who supported us over the years. It's a long list, but high on that list are the companions and honoured friends who've given their time freely and enthusiastically to mentor and share their experiences with our students. Their contributions are invaluable. This year, we recognise Paul Berger, Ali Campbell, Dean Lee, John Leonard, Niall Rogers, Felice Ross, and Toya Wilcox, who become companions. And we're also recognising and thanking Maria Walker and Nigel Wetherill, who become honoured friends. On behalf of you, our graduates, let's recognise the support given to you by your families and friends, and you'll know how invaluable they've been in helping you to achieve your potential. Mentioning families and friends, this is the first time the child of one of our earliest graduates, she started in 1999, is graduating today. That's a landmark that's touched our hearts. We're delighted to welcome the families and friends who travel from near and far to be with us today. This year from places like the Cayman Islands, Chicago and Crosby. So to all of our guests, thank you for joining us today. And finally, before we watch how this year's graduating class have been spending their time with us, and before our students are presented for their awards, I declare this, our 2018 graduation, open. Thank you.
Got my head on my shoulders, got my feet on the ground. And as I'm growing older, and as I move around, I'll be safe in my body, I'll be safe in my skin. As a sister and daughter, as a lover and friend. And I don't know where I will go, or what's coming for me. I don't worry, 'cause I will know, and I know, and I know. My home is my body, and I won't let anyone take away from me my plans or my dreams. It could be anyone, anyone. I'm grown and I'm steady, working my way ahead. I was born ready. I know and I see. It could be anyone, anyone. Anyone, anyone. Anyone, anyone. Anyone, anyone. I want. And my arms will be open to the big wide unknown. And as yesterday's closing, and as time's moving on, I'll be safe in my body, I'll be safe in my skin. My perspective is starry, I'm about to begin. And I don't know where I will go, or what's coming for me. I don't worry, 'cause I will know, and I know, and I know. My home is my body, and I won't let anyone take away from me my plans or my dreams. It could be anyone, anyone. I'm grown and I'm steady, working my way ahead. I was born ready. I know and I see. It could be anyone, anyone. My home is my body. I won't let anyone take away from me my plans or my dreams. It could be anyone, anyone. I'm grown and I'm steady, working my way ahead. I was born ready. I know and I see. It could be anyone, anyone. Anyone, anyone. Anyone, anyone. Anyone, anyone. I want.
Bachelor of Arts with honours Theatre and Performance Design. With first class honours, Kirsty Shannon Barlow. Amy Barwick. Saskia Mindy Ginger Dammers. Good work. With first class honours, Saskia Inez Gilmore. Eleanor Kate Hilton. Charlotte Elizabeth Johnson. With first class honours, Francesca Bethany Gerard. With first class honours, Rhea Matthews. Linda Elizabeth Christie McCulley. Ho Teng Ng. Lauren Victoria Lather-Roberts. With first class honours, Rachel Rooney. Carl Jacob Rostan. Lauren Stutchfield.
Now, I'm going to introduce you to our first companion, but before I do that, another student, hopefully. Before I do that, and before I give you Felice's introduction, I just want to tell you why we make these awards. There are two reasons. The first reason is we wanted students to be taught by practitioners, so we prize experience. No institution is better than the people who teach, so Ian has already made comments about that, or indeed the vibe a particular institution has. And I hope you get some sense of our vibe throughout this occasion. And in addition to those people, every year, first-rank professionals share their professional lives and experiences with us. They lead workshops, we have conversations with them, masterclasses or seminars. That's the first reason. And of course, every companion we have has taught all of us, not just our students, but us as well. And the second is that they are clearly luminaries. Their professional lives are things we can learn from. So previous graduates like Gemma Bodines, Chris Difford, Nicholas Grace, Kevin Godley, Noddy Holder, Steve Levine, and Tony Platter here today, as are our honoured friends Janice Long and Rowena Morgan. And then, of course, there's Paul, our lead patron and co-founder who mentors our third-year singer-songwriters every year since we started. You've also just seen Wayne Sleep in this year's video, who was one of our original companions and who led a memorable dance class, to my eye, moving as he always did. And then our loyal Gary Christian is here as well. And being in the provinces, which we are, we have to make a lot more effort to find these people, and these people have to make a lot more effort to come north. So we're grateful for them for doing that. Now, Felice, you're the first one, so if you kindly stand. And if you look at me, because I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I was trying to count up how many shows you either lit, designed, or both, and lost count after 140. I was also trying to count up how many places you'd worked, and I lost count on that too. Germany, Poland, Israel, Holland, South Africa, USA, Belgium, Italy, Switzerland, James, Spain, UK, South Korea, amongst others. Your shows have included plays, operas, and dance. You told us that respect was at the heart of it. You said it's key to everything. Everyone has to respect what everybody else does and is doing in the process. Everyone is vital. And that's music to our ears, because 26 years ago, that's precisely what George Martin said to me. And that's why we place such emphasis on collaboration as an institution, how it works and how it can work better. You began, perhaps I shouldn't be saying this, but you began when all technicians were male. Aside from the comments that were made, there was the inevitable need to prove that you were as good as anyone. Good to know things have changed. And your climb included a real climb, as you told us. Being up a ladder 12 meters in the air, struggling with a shutter that's caught, means that you knew later on what you were asking people to do. Good to know, because this completely aligns with our ethos as well. Felice, we are honored that you are here today to become one of our companions.
Okay, I want, first of all, to thank you all for the great honor of inviting me to join you here on this important day. Please excuse me for not have that I haven't learned my text by heart, but as a lighting designer, I'm used to being behind the scenes and not in front of the audience. I would actually have taken the light down a little bit. For the past few years, I've had the privilege and pleasure to share my work and experience on the stage with Sofia Alexiado and her lighting design, production, and technician classes. The meetings were via Skype from various theaters and opera houses all around the world. I carried my computer and took the students on a tour of the stage, showing them the workings and people in real time. This year, I was invited to give a masterclass and meet the students in person. We discussed the elements of light design and production, stressing, as Mark said, the importance of the team working together to create a memorable experience for the audience. Several of the students joined me at a dress rehearsal at the Royal Opera House in London. One of my most memorable experiences as a student was sitting in the Metropolitan Opera House in a rehearsal in New York, and I was happy to try and give them a similar experience. I was given a royal tour of the facilities of LIPA. You have an amazing institution which gives the students the possibilities to grow in a warm and nourishing incubator. I wish the graduating students, toi toi toi. You'll be leaving the LIPA womb and taking your voyage into the real world of performing arts. It's a tough business, but most rewarding. We are all privileged people working in what we like to do, and always need to remember this, especially when in the throes of hysteria during the last days of rehearsal. We are privileged to be paid, to be in a playground of art and inspiration. We are often surrounded by the most talented people in the world, sitting for hours in rehearsals, listening and watching the finest artists being directed by masters. We work and brainstorm with artists in every field of the performing and fine arts. We find ourselves in theater and on stages where the greatest artists have stood before us, and we try to follow in their footsteps. I've been in lighting since the age of 15, and I'm not going to say how many years, but it's been quite a long career. I still get a buzz every time I step on the stage and turn on a light, and butterflies in my stomach at every opening night. Congratulations once again to all of you who have made it to this important stage of your careers. I am sure that the training you received here at LIPA has prepared you to continue your pursuit of artistic development and given you the ability to succeed and enjoy whatever career path you have chosen. I'm looking forward to meeting you all on stage. I would like to end with a quote from the famous set designer, Robert Edmund Jones, which applies to everyone working in the performing arts. In the last analysis, the designing of the stage scenery is not the problem of an architect or a painter or a sculptor or even a musician, but of a poet. Thank you.
Bachelor of Arts with honours Theatre and Performance Technology. Maxton James Armstrong. With first class honours, Sophie Ann Bailey. Liam John Beckett-Jones. With first class honours, Kate Elizabeth Condon. Katie Dubois. With first class honours, Georgia Emily Feldman. With first class honours, Heather Brogan Fox. With first class honours, Alex James Gardner. Emily Jane Cleaves. With first class honours, Sarah Frances Hazelgrove. With first class honours, Isabel Neve Hodgkiss. Connor Houston. With first class honours, Molly Rose Jarrett. Connor James McConnell. With first class honours, Paul McAvoy. Jamie Lee Petches Kelly. Jude Oliver Myton Mitchell. With first class honours, William Peters. Yes, thank you. Joseph Roberts. With first class honours, Holly Catherine Williams. With first class honours, Alice Ellen Winter. BA Theatre and Performance Technology, Sienna Lois Roberts. Diploma of Higher Education in Theatre and Performance Technology, Charlie Knowlton Rayner.
John, please stand. Here's our second companion. John, listening to your session and reading your resume, it's clear that you are Mr. Theatre Sound. There was that time in Bristol where you managed sound for at least 3 venues at the same time. One, the Theatre Royal, is the oldest theatre in Europe, as well as newer spaces. You created stereo sound effects and surround sound many years before these were familiar devices. At another point, you were head of sound at the Royal Shakespeare Company for 10 years. I read that you co-developed one of the first computer-assisted theatre sound systems, as well as a concept design for, deep breath, I'm going to have to get this right, a digitally controlled assignable theatre sound console. Oh, God. Got that. Well before this became standard practice, so you are a pioneer. I'm partly mentioning your technological inventiveness because when you began, a lost world really, for those of us with grey or even white hair, many effects were delivered live in real time. You showed us an inventive device for thunder, which involved wooden balls rolling noisily down wooden troughs. That was rather good. After the RSC, you returned to a freelance life with partners and you won the Drama Desk Award, the Sound Designer of the Year Award. You've written a textbook about theatre sounds. You've contributed to countless publications while designing sound systems for the Almeida and Hampstead. And then there's your work for Madame Tussauds in various parts of the world. So, a sound man for all seasons. John, we're glad you are here to become one of our companions.
Thank you very much. It's an honour to be here, and I think it's an honour to wear this lot. Like Felice, I'm much more used to being out there rather than up here. So this is probably going to be short, sweet, and probably a bit strange, but never mind. But I'm going to have to wear my glasses because I'm getting it on a bit. Richard got me up here a few years ago, well, in fact, earlier this year, I think, to talk about the development of theatre sound from way back when in the Middle Ages unto the present day. And not because I've experienced all of those things, but certainly I'm old enough to have gone from the analog days to fully digital, which is a useful thing to be able to do. And I was quite right, I was privileged to work for the Bristol Old Vic Theatre Company running 3 different theatres where we did everything from obscure Middle English plays like Gamma Gurton's Needle to a wonderful rock and roll show written by Sam Shepard called The Tooth of Crime, which was quite extraordinary. And we did a lot of Shakespeare, we did a lot of Chekhov, we did a lot of Ibsen, and we did a lot of other stuff in between. And I've also lost count of the number of shows that I've done over the years. But those early years taught me quite a few things. We worked in rep, which for those of you who don't know means that we did a new play every 4 weeks, and that was in 3 theatres. So I was quite busy. I didn't sleep a lot, has to be said, and my wife, who's here, will tell you that after we got married and I was working for the Royal Shakespeare Company, in the days of tape editing, I would cut myself quite badly with the razor blades, having to work overnight. I don't have to do that anymore thanks to computers, and I get much more sleep. But I became part of a team with designers and actors and stage managers and directors, some of whom I'm still working with today. And we learned that the main thing that you needed to do was to serve the play and to serve the audience and to be collaborators. And the American sound designers, I'm sure you know, now have a thing called the Collaborator Party every year to celebrate the work of sound design in theatre, which is a relatively young discipline. I learned that my contribution to production could be as important whether it was a single sound effect or whether it was a full-on soundscape. And that was hammered home by Harold Pinter, name drop, sorry, for a single sound effect that I did for one of his productions. And when he asked the director how much I'd been paid, the director said, nothing. And Harold said, but it's pivotal. It's absolutely pivotal. I think that's what he said. He might have said something else. I learned always to turn up on time, have as much preparation done beforehand so that I didn't waste other people's time. I learned, particularly from that show, that there's no relationship between money and art, and that's something that I learn every time a new contract comes through the door. And I learned that you never stop learning. Here at LIPA, you've been privileged to be trained on some of the most up-to-date equipment by some of the most highly qualified instructors in the country. You've got the vast resources of the internet to interrogate for almost any problem you might encounter in your work, and an almost limitless palette of music and sounds from which to draw your inspiration. And I think that's the most important lesson that I hope that you'll learn when you go out into the world, is that you want to be inspired and not to imitate. So be inspired, use that inspiration to innovate, and may I wish you as much luck and good fortune in your careers as I've had in mine, and congratulations to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
for the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Community Drama. With first class honours, Holly Frances Campbell. With first class honours, Amy Grace Dowell. Sarah Lynn Maureen Fraser. Matthew Paul Green. Lakota Elise Kendall. Shakara Jade McIntosh. Luke Stephen Arthur Montague. Zoe Maria Pave. With first class honours, Stephanie Page Pearson Peat. With first class honours, Liam Smage. With first class honours, Luke Christian Tallboys. Jodie Jane Walsham. With first class honours, Chloe Rebecca Wiles. For the award of Bachelor of Arts Community Drama, Hannah Hakesley.
Now, I'm always a bit of a disappointment after Brendan. I think we'll move him further towards the end of the ceremony. I can't match that. Ali, would you be kind enough to stand up? Well. Hello. Now, you know, I have to prepare for everyone's citations, and I think it's the first time in my life I've come across a citation which includes Line-Born Opera and Hackney Housing Association. I mean, eclectic or what? I'll go into the usuals. Anyway, your experimental performance training bits art and marginal groups together for outreach work, for all sorts of cultural institutions, the British Museum, the English National Opera, the Royal Festival, Tate Modern, and the Chichester Festival Theatre. Not forgetting orchestras you've combined with, Academy of St Martin's in the Fields, City of London Symphonia, and you've been dramaturg for Grey Eye and Lawnmowers, the last of which is not as well known as Grey Eye, and for devoted to learning disabled artists. Then there's your British Council work, training NGO workers alongside theatre and music professionals in Europe, Brazil, Malawi, Uganda, Kenya, actually the list goes on. And since Uganda's been mentioned, you won the Winston Churchill Fellowship Medal for AIS education there. You co-founded, this is really remarkable, isn't it? Just one man. You founded a theatre and education company that included this country's first ACGB Terence Higgin Trust-funded work about AIDS. Your Forum Feast for Peace for primary schools explored substance abuse in an interactive, child-led format seen by over 500,000 5-year-olds in the late 1990s. I haven't touched upon your pediatric dentistry or your work alongside the 2012 Olympics. Oh, gosh. And while you were with us, you advised, as community dramatists often do, to critically challenge what we're told, and to be alert to absorbing views, sometimes unconsciously. So, you're another example of a man of all seasons, but this time working for change. So thank you for spending time with us, and thank you for being here today to become one of our companions, Ali.
Where are you, community theatre people? Where are you? I worked with all of them. All I can tell you is they took every single idea that I had and they ran with it. And when they're running the world, I'll grow old very happy indeed. However, I will. Thank you, Brendan. You've got 2 minutes, they said. No Latin, they said. Ars est caleri artem, I replied. It means you know what you can do with your celery. Anyway, at the end of a workshop, which, as you guys know, I worked with the third years earlier on this year, and I got the ethos of this place in one lovely big sandwich of fun. We brought in the second and the first years we worked, so I've actually worked with everybody doing this degree program, and we had a ball. I just didn't have time to do this thing that I do at the end of a workshop, which is called 10 Top Tips, where I ask my students to tell me what they now feel that they are experts in. They haven't just had an experience, they now have expertise. So I didn't have time to do that with you, so I've done it. And I've done it at the end of every single workshop for 30 years all over the world. Thanks for trying to get it all in there, but because the people I work with become experts. That's what I'm about. And I've taken my favorite ones. Some come from my practice as a Quaker. Some come from the other Glaswegian that I love, Billy Connolly. And there's one or two from people that you might see on this stage. My 10 top tips is the nearest I'll ever get to trying to give you advice, okay? And here they are, from a grateful teacher. Number 1, smile when you walk into the room. We're community artists, we don't scare people, right? 2, go where you're celebrated, not just tolerated. A very old nurse from the Caribbean who's aged 90 called Hazel told me that. She was the first black nurse in Homerton Hospital in London in the late 40s. And she's still saying that to every nursing student she meets. Go where you're celebrated, not just tolerated. That's what I do. Number 3, look up from your phone. Number 4, you work with a primary school, there's one on site. Listen carefully. 10 boys take less time to go to the toilet than 10 girls. This isn't about gender, it's about plumbing. Number 5, this too shall pass. Number 6, practice gratitude. Number 7, never pat pets with sneaky eyes. Okay, that was Billy Connolly. Number 8, the Quaker one. Think it possible that you might be mistaken. Number 9, 90 minutes is long enough for just about anything. And number 10, with respect, nearly all you need is love.
Bachelor of Arts with Honours Acting, Katie Ball. Samuel Birch. Saffron Rennie Brower. Reese Anthony Carter. With first class honours, Sophie Catlow. Ebony Janelle Little Chamberlain King. Louise Courtney. Lauren Cresswell. With first class honours, Molly Elizabeth Deegan. Andrew Fraser. With first class honours, Martha Phoebe Godber. With first class honours, Daniel George Goodhand. Jack Ashley Harrison. With first class honours, Matthew John Harwood. Kirsty Elizabeth Heitman. Nathan Jones. With first class honours, Emma Courtney Knieber. Amber Marie Launders. With first class honours, Amy Elizabeth Leeson. Kelly Rossman Litt. With first class honours, Jack Paul Malone. With first class honours, Sade Malone. With first class honours, Chloe Elizabeth Marsh. With first class honours, Helena Mary Joy Maybury. With first class honours, Chloe Nicole MacDonald. With first class honours, Natalie Rose O'Neill. With first class honours, Elena Marie Pando. Ruth Caris Parrott. Sophie Ann Putchley. Joshua Pullen. Katie Ann Reed. Rosera Madeline Sanders. Alice May Shepherd.
Thor Scholberg Stenhag. With first class honours, Nikolai Suphammer. Constance Caitlin Spatins. Ellen Half Taylor. Julia Jean Thurston. Leanne Traynor. Rosie Twig. Annie Ellen Vralstad. Thomas Aaron Whitaker. With first class honours, Hazel Eleanor Wilson.
Toya, if you'd be kind enough to stand and hopefully we'll have a bit of a conversation. Actually, it was a bit of a relief when you came up and did your wonderful thing with us to hear you say, as an actress, during your session with us, because, well, you know what's coming next. You've been a singer, a songwriter, a composer, which meant we could honour you after our graduating actors who've just graduated, although your session actually was in front of musicians. Your 40 years in the business can sort of be summed up. 13 top 40 singles, 24 albums, 2 books, 40 stage plays, over 20 feature films, and a presenter of hundreds of television programs. You're the sort of epitome of a portfolio career, which is why I first wrote to you 34 years ago to become patron of what was just an idea. Your contribution to our learning was extraordinary. Why? Well, you spent serious time, first of all, preparing your engaging presentation, both visual and oral, and you used a collage of your life to single out at every stage important lessons from everything I know I've learnt in front of an audience, to make a statement, constantly reinvent yourself. You pointed out for the first, if you can own your mistake in front of an audience, they will love you for it. All the way through, there were learning moments, and it's always good, I hope I can say this, to hear a 60-year-old say, life is a continual learning journey. Well, you can add teaching to your skills as well. So, dear Toya, we're glad that your unique journey has brought you to us here today to become one of our companions.
Thank you. Wow, I came here in December to talk to a music group, and I went away in tears. You taught me so much about life. You were the most intelligent people I have ever talked to and taught. You asked the right questions. They were profoundly moving. You were vulnerable. You had worries about anxiety, even depression, and fear of being on stage. We all have that. I'm having that right now. But what I want to say to you, I learned on that day, I believe it was the 1st of December last year, that you are all going to be okay. You are all in the right place. You are going to give joy and insight to this industry. Well done. Now, I have done a lot in my life. I've actually been working for 42 years. I joined the National Theatre when I was 18. I've co-written 28 albums. I've acted opposite legends like Katharine Hepburn, who was a rebel in her time, and she taught me that we are all rebels when we are young. That's how we change culture. I've acted with Laurence Olivier. In fact, I had to sit naked with him for 3 months while we shot that film. It was terrifying. I couldn't eat a thing. I have sung live to an audience as large as 12 million, reinvented myself every decade. But really, the only thing and the greatest thing I can impart to you today, it's already been said. Never stop learning. At every opportunity you can, study and remain awake creatively. 8 years ago, I was doing stadium tours. I'm still doing them today. But I wasn't happy with my voice, and I started to research, how can I improve my voice? I was 52, and I was busier than ever and playing to more people than ever have in the whole of my career. So I found a singing teacher at the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I said, please, can you take me on board? And I worked with her for a year, and I got my full octave range back that I had in my 20s. And ever since, I now feel I have found my place as an artist in the world, and it's taken 38 years to get to that point. I want to say to you that we are allowed longevity. We must fight for longevity in the workplace. But I've got 4 points I want to put to you. Put yourselves outside your comfort zone on a regular basis. It teaches you so much about yourself and about the audience. And if you do suffer from stage fright, it is the only way you're ever going to learn to deal with it. Also, no one has the right to criticize you negatively, but oh my God, they will. Only take on board the criticism that makes you a better person and a better artist. And thirdly, this is something I've learnt by, know your uniqueness. We are fantastic working in groups and in ensembles. It's absolutely brilliant. But an ensemble is even better if you are aware of how unique you are and what your unique qualities are. And I want to say to you, be interested in other people's work, because people need friends, not enemies. And I want to end on a story that happened to me this week. 42 years ago, I talked to a journalist on his first ever assignment for a music paper called Sounds. It was such a good interview, it was a double page. I really liked him. I can remember every minute of that interview because he treated me like a serious musician and a serious creative. This week, he contacted me, and he's now a world-renowned Hollywood director. And his email started with, I have never forgotten that interview because my life started at that point. I want to cast you in my next movie. So everything that goes around comes around. Your friends will be so loyal to you. And while we have Nile Rodgers in the room, my co-star in this movie is John Taylor from Duran Duran. So I want to say to you, go into the world, bring joy, bring light. You are fantastic. Thank you.
Bachelor of Arts with Honours in Music, Theatre and Entertainment Management, Anna Bavard Edelman. Rowan Charis Alexander. With First Class Honours, Natasha Louise Brooks. Chanel Carmichael. Nicola Clifford. With First Class Honours, Oliver David Clubb. With First Class Honours, Joshua William Davies. Connor George DeLeo. Megan Rose Digby. Jordan Garner. Sophia G. Zoe McGill Hatton. Sinna Elisa Horner Knutsson. With First Class Honours, Alina Manon Kamalanda Zamati. Holly Viola Lewis. Lucette Nicole Moreau. Kay Nicholson. Heather Ann Notman. Elliot O'Callaghan. Josephine Pemberton. With First Class Honours, Adriana Piotrowska. David Christopher Powley. Thank you. Darcy Maria Preston. Roy Quinn. With First Class Honours, Benjamin Ripley. Hannah Jordan Story. With First Class Honours, Trenton Tomlinson. Olivia May Whitaker. Katie Corinne Wilson. Adam Wood. Sadly, one of our much-loved third-year students, Siobhan McGann, was diagnosed with leukemia last year and passed away this April. Siobhan has been awarded a posthumous Agritat degree in music, theatre and entertainment management, and her award has been collected on her behalf by her mum, Diane.
Thanks, Jeremy. Now, for our management companion, who is Paul Berger. So, Paul, would you kindly stand? Now, I think we first met a little tiny while back at the 25th celebration of the Brit School, an idea I had 28 years ago, because you are their current chair. I had an inkling of your professional life then, but only just an inkling. Your time with Sony Music has seen you president of their operations in Europe, the Middle East and Africa. You've been chair and CEO of Sony Music UK and Ireland, and at another time, Canada. You began your session with a telling piece of advice, and in response to a first question, what you said was this: when you are interviewed, be prepared to ensure that whatever the question is, deliver what you want to deliver. That was lesson 1, which is great because that's what these sessions are for. During your generous 90 minutes, I picked out a couple of other moments. You touched on passion, and as we know, finding your passion changes everything, including your ability to cope with setbacks, which are inevitable. You also touched on vision and the importance of this when pitching, because you need to convince you have a thoroughly thought-through plan. Do you remember this? You had a ploy, which wasn't foolproof, you said, but was indicative. Someone comes to you with a band and a producer they believe in. You suggest an alternative producer. And if they agree, you show them the door. It's a test. Do you wholly believe in your project or not? Aside from being a board member of the Music Managers Forum and a trustee of your old US University's British Foundation, you set up your own artistic management agency, Soho Artists, 15 years ago. And no surprise, given your background and experience, you work with outstanding world music artists and usually, obviously, emerging ones. So, Paul, we're glad that you are here today to become one of our companions.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Sir Paul. This is quite an event, and I thought that I would actually wing it in speaking to you graduates, because that's kind of what creativity is all about. But I also thought on the train ride up here this morning that maybe I'd just write down a few words to try and focus my thoughts. So I'm going to cop out a bit, and I'm going to read the words that I wrote on the train, because actually I thought they said fairly well what it was that I wanted to say to you, the graduates. So excuse me if I'm turning a bit to the right away from the audience, but this day is really all about you and your class. So thank you, Mark, and thank you, Sir Paul. What a supreme and humbling experience it is to find myself in the presence of such august company. Yes, you, the graduating class of 2018, as well as my fellow companions, some of whom I've known and some of whom I haven't, but who all represent some of the best talent this country has ever produced, or in my case, you can tell by my accent, hosted. Mark, your vision of providing top quality arts education at both the Brit School in Croydon, which you helped establish 27 years ago, as well as here with LIPA, is a track record to admire. And Sir Paul, while we've never worked together, you have had a profound influence on my life. I can still recall the very first single I ever purchased back in New York, growing up as an 8-year-old. I think it was called She Loves You. Watching that first appearance on Ed Sullivan, it was past my bedtime, so parental approval and dispensation was required, remains one of life's unforgettable experiences for me. You have changed the course of pop culture, of songwriting, and of music. And back then, I could never have even imagined working in this business, never mind being presented with this companionship by you. But it is you, the graduates of today, and yes, the leaders of tomorrow, I wish to address. Today marks the culmination of years of study and preparation for your independent life as an adult. And you are a truly elite group. Why? Because just like Paul and his bandmates, it is you who have the opportunity to change our world. We are all troubled by so many issues facing us, from the explosion of mental illness in all its forms to the worrying lack of political leadership, from the challenge of using social media to improve our world to the impending challenges, dare I say disaster, known as Brexit. The issues of today are greater and more complex than ever before. And yet, through art, you are uniquely positioned to change the course of history for the better. Art is perhaps the only way we have to break down every barrier that faces us. It provides us with extraordinary pathways to social mobility. It provides us with ways to communicate across great cultural and political divides. And it allows us to challenge existing norms and move our society forward by leaps and bounds. So as you consider your future careers, keep in mind the power that resides in your talent, in your creativity, and in your freedom of expression. And one further bit of advice as you consider your way forward in this world. As I said earlier, growing up in New York and going to gigs from a very young age never caused me somehow to consider a career in music. I thought the world of music was only for performers. And yet, when the opportunity presented itself, I grabbed hold of it with both hands. I mean, who wouldn't want to work for a great record company like CBS Records, as Sony Music was known back then? Once I realized it might be an option, all other job interviews and offers seemed a complete waste of time. But the only problem was, I was offered a gig in the data processing department. Not exactly rock and roll. But I grabbed the opportunity and fortunately managed to finish my work regularly before lunchtime. I suppose I could have disappeared for the rest of the day, but loving my music, I began spending time hanging around with the guys who decided what records to release and when in the international A&R department. And so within a few weeks of joining, I was already beginning to plant the seeds that would lead me towards the creative and marketing sides of the music business. And I put my success in business down largely to one thing: my passion for music and for artists. It was for me the only life and work I could consider. So to you I say, find your passion, pursue your passion, and never ever apologize or second guess your passion. My first jobs in the music business were in Israel, where CBS sent me when I was hired. Not the most likely place to begin an international career, but I didn't care. It was a way into the world I so wanted to join. So remember, no matter whether you find your way in this world in the arts or anywhere else, your passion is what will set you apart from most people. You graduates have an incredible opportunity to influence your neighborhood, your community, our country, and even our world for the better. Grab your opportunity, follow your passion, and create in a way that makes people stand up and take notice. Good luck.
Bachelor of Arts with Honors Dance. Michael Askew. Olivia Bales. Rachel Louise Barton. Leah Berry, First Class Honors. Georgia Cartwright, First Class Honors. Stephanie Coates. Lucy Davis. Rachel Dixon, First Class Honors. Laura Hegg, First Class Honors. Ellie Hardingham, First Class Honors. Joss Alfred Laporta Harris. Joanna Kirsty Hart, First Class Honors. Emily Hobbs, First Class Honors. Olivia Eleanor Jones, First Class Honors. Andrew Lee. Jennifer Angela Moore, First Class Honors. Al O'Shaughnessy. Aidan John Pulford, First Class Honors. Poppy Elizabeth Ross, First Class Honors. Molly Victoria Sheridan. Kira Louise Marie Simmons. Chloe Ann Squire. Caitlin May Sutcliffe. Emma Judith Tate. Mitchell Tuck. Bradley Joseph Yates, first class honors. Amber Lee Zamora.
Thank you, Sarah. Dean Lee. Now, if we are looking for names you've worked with since graduating, and not from us, which is a bit of pity, but anyway, we could mention Janet Jackson, Kylie Minogue, Pussycat Dolls, Cheryl Cole, Leona Lewis, Adam Lambert, Chaka Khan, and Shoshana Bean. You've appeared in Strictly, X Factor, Royal Variety Show, and in the West End, you were swing and dance captain and occasional resident director for Thriller Live. Now, we're rather keen on this particular show, since currently 4 of our graduates are in the West End production, 2 more are on tour, and 6 more who've been on tour in the past. Sorry for that little advertisement, but we need to be proud. You've choreographed X Factor in the UK and in the States, as well as So You Think You Can Dance in this country and in Poland. I could go on, and usually at this point I try and share some professional wisdom that you've shared. And of course, your wisdom has been shared through dance sessions you've held here, often in your trademark bowler hat. So now is not quite the moment for you to show everyone what you can do. Oh, why not? Oh, sorry. Or, for heaven forbid, for me to illustrate your expertise. Yes. 3 years ago, saw your first filmed work, and you've worked for a variety of corporate clients, including Walt Disney and Dolce & Gabbana, amongst others. So all in all, you have been, and you are, a professional we all treasure. So, Dean, we are glad that you are here to become one of our companions.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for support, for having me. It's such an honor. I do have to say, when my dear friend Sarah first initially asked me if I would accept this award, I said, yes, of course, it's such an honor. Then she told me I had to do this speech, and I had to rethink it. When I think of today and the journey you're about to embark on, I gently remind you that today isn't the end, but merely the very beginning of a journey that is going to be ever-changing. When I look back on lessons I've learned so far, one of the most significant I carry with me is the importance of leading with good intentions, no matter what the project, whether I was dancing for Janet Jackson, choreographing a world tour, being a dancing chess piece, standing in for Kylie Minogue, or teaching any of my students around the world in a masterclass. To lead with good intentions has always produced the most rewarding work. What I want you to take away from me today is the idea of something very old-fashioned. That is hard work. Never underestimate the power of hard work, how it can transform your life from what it is to what it can be. Hard work can turn the underdog into the boss. I've seen so many of my students graduate and go on to have wonderful careers in the entertainment industry, and now it's your turn. Take what you've learned in this establishment and hold on to it, because the solid foundation I got at college has been the underpinning to my entire career. Entering into the industry may be a daunting thought to some of you, and I understand why, because I've walked that path. At times it can be very lonely, even scary, and at other times it can feel like the most thrilling decision you'll ever make. You all have a gift inside of you, which has led you to this point so far. It's now your duty to keep that gift shining bright. Know that you are enough, know that there is a place for you, and I remind you it's your sole responsibility to always be your authentic self. All our stories are entirely unique, and success will come to you in all shapes and forms. It won't happen for you the way it will for the person sitting next to you, and that's perfectly okay. We must never compare ourselves to any other individual, for that is a path none of us need to walk. Earlier this year, I was in San Diego having a conversation with a very dear friend of mine, Gil Dodelau. He has been the creative director and choreographer for Janet Jackson for the past 20 years. We got onto the topic of self-doubt and how hard it can be to truly believe in what you have to offer. Even for him, who works for one of the biggest stars on this planet, I asked him how he maintains calm with that kind of pressure. He turned and said to me, "Just be kind to yourself." Such a simplistic notion, but one of the most impactful for me personally. You mustn't tear yourself down over the jobs you won't get. It wasn't meant for you, so you must get straight on to the next one. Everybody's journey is their own, and it unfolds at its own pace. So keep reminding yourself to love every part of what you do. I've learned that whatever is meant for you won't happen until it is absolutely supposed to. Someone very famous once said to me, "Dean, one day in your life, the job of a lifetime is going to come along. And when that day comes, baby, you're going to want to be ready for it." That person was Shaka Khan. I urge you to let those words sink in. They have pushed me to expect more from myself, to never feel complacent, and always reminded me how absolutely fundamental it is to maintain your best. What I didn't expect was that one day as an assistant choreographer, me, who can't sing a single note, would be sitting backstage with Shaka when she forgets the melody to the song she's about to go on stage and sing. So she turns to me and says, "Baby, sing me that song." My heart drops as I tentatively attempt to sing Angels by Robbie Williams to Shaka Khan. How absolutely hilarious and dreadful all at the same time. I was mortified to say the least. She puts out her cigarette, takes her mic from me, walks to the opening doors, and disappears through the haze like stars in their eyes. That's a true story. My point is, this industry will give you the most weird and most wonderful memories, and be grateful for them all. You're about to enter a world with your dreams leading the way. My advice to you is simple. Don't be blinded by the lights of showbiz. Whether the sun is rising or setting, we all stand under the same sky. So be kind to one another, be a good person, and never be on time. Always be early, because being on time is being late. Thank you.
Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Sound Technology. With First Class Honours, Marenius Alvareng. Samuel Michael Every Baker. With First Class Honours, Robert Michael Davidson. Simran Darawal. Shira Gierstad Ligra. Henrik Giersetter. James Edward Grant. Adam William Greer. David Peter William Grimes. Joshua William Higginson. Joshua Thomas Hunter. With first class honours, Alexander Philip Hines. Samuel Luke Johnson. Thomas George Pallant. With first class honours, Jan Pickup. Thomas Smetham. With first class honours, Will Henry George Stanton. Christopher David Theobald. Elliot Tutt. James Watson. And with first class honours, Joseph Christopher Wyatt.
Bachelor of Arts with honours, music. With first class honours, Thomas Atkinson. Sarah Bailey. With first class honours, Stephanie Ball. Jennifer Megan Baranick. Gil Ben-Meir. Long Ting Rhonda Chan. Ryland Kenneth Wayne Chessel. Julia Margaret Church. Liam John Brian Crosby. Jessica Rachel Kuna. Ben Davis. Alexandra Dawn Dunaway. Joel Dirksen. Joelle Edwards. Leonard Elsa. Anthony William John Eve. Emily Rachel Fitzgerald. Stephen Daniel Geisler. Ari Benjamin Graw. With first class honours, Megan Ellen Gruters. With first class honours, Matthew Sean Harrison. Nina Himmelreich. With first class honours, and Elliot Anthony Holland. Hjalmar Johansson. With first class honours, Edward Alistair Juniper. With first class honours, Ellie Mae Keegan. Aman Khan. Oliver Charles Kidd Martin. With first class honours, Jonathan Richard Knight. Taylor Brianne Little. Shay McChrystal. Christopher James McEwen. Annie Elizabeth Norby. Paige Lucy Phillips. Sean Michael Potter. Georgia Eliana Tejides. With first class honours, Sylvan Emmanuel Rupp. Rosie Maria Samaras. With first class honours, Camilla Alice Skye. Anna Peter Stephenson. Alexander Stevens. With first class honours, Naomi Elizabeth Todd. With first class honours, Evan Iago Torrente Galdes. Dara Tohill. With first class honours, Lindsay Dawn Ward. Nathan Waters. Michael David Woodvine.
Thanks, Martin. Niall, will you please stand? One of my nightmares is ever having to write a citation for Paul. And one of my nightmares, a secondary nightmare, is you. I mean, where would one start? Where would one end? And with all well-known people, what would one take for granted, or what people might already know? Even a summary of your career, which is still going on far too strongly, will fill the rest of our time and more besides. Listening again and again to your informative session with us, which started at 11 in the morning, by the way, when he'd only got to bed at 4 o'clock. Hosted by Janice, it's clear you are an educator, which for us is the highest accolade. Your frankness was refreshing. Just one illuminating example, your production role with David Bowie. One of the mantras you shared, this is you. If you know what you want to say, write to that. It's why we always started with the chorus. So, when you were collaborating with him on Let's Dance, you told him, the first words had to be, let's dance. Get to the heart of that shit, why wait? All the discussions you had with Madonna about featuring like a virgin rather than material girl. Aside from being the stuff of legend, these are instructive and illustrative insights showing us how giants work together. Now, I'm going to have to say something about your career, aren't I? Your work, either on your own or in collaboration with others, has sold more than 200 million albums. 500. I'm going to go with Toya on this one. I'm going to own up to my mistake, and hopefully the audience will love it, Toya. That's what I'm going to try and go with. Oh, God, I've got another statistic here. It's going to be wrong, isn't it? 50 million singles worldwide? Yeah, that's an old statistic. It's an old statistic. Okay, this is more general. You are a composer, a multi-Grammy writing producer, arranger, guitarist, open to a bewildering number of styles. You co-founded Chic. And we're told they're one of the most sampled bands in history. Thank you. God, it's like a public exam, this, isn't it? The people you've worked with have included Bowie, Madonna, Diana Ross, Sister Sledge, Duran Duran, Excess, Mick Jagger, Grace Jones, Peter Gabriel. Oh, this list just goes on and on. So, you seem healthy. You have no intention to stop, so I'm looking forward for us to honour you in 20 years' time again. So for the moment, Niall, we are honoured that you are here to become one of our companions.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Sir Paul. And thank you. I got to tell you, when I came and spoke at LIPA earlier, it was one of the greatest days of my life. I probably went on way too long, but the feeling in the room for me was incredible. I just want to say something. I'm going to speak to you from my heart and soul, and you'll understand where I'm coming from, hopefully, when I get to the end. I started out as a classical sort of geek. I never even played pop music until I was a teenager. I was completely engrossed in the classics, and that was because in America at the time, our standardized education system was amazing. I mean, they taught us everything. And I was completely enamored with music. The thing is that my parents were heroin addicts, and we quite often would change schools, so I never went to the same school for more than a few weeks at a time. At the time, I thought it was horrible because I was always the new kid in the class. People made fun of me all the time. Typically, I was the only black person in an all-white school, and it was really, really difficult. But the upside was that every school that I went to had a school orchestra, and playing in the orchestra was mandatory because we all stank. Nobody was good at that age. But here's the great byproduct. I learned how to orchestrate, and I knew the range of every instrument in the symphony orchestra. So by the time I was a professional and could start my own band, not only could I write all the songs, but I could do all the orchestration because disco was the thing, and you wanted to write the strings and do the horns and all this stuff, and I was fortunate enough to do that. Before that happened, though, something really tricky happened. My very first day going to college, or at least what I thought would be my first day at college, I was outside of the practice rooms and I looked up on the bulletin board and they were auditioning musicians for a new TV show. I didn't know it was a TV show. They just said auditioning musicians, and one of the positions happened to be guitarist. I had only been playing guitar for a few years. Believe it or not, the very first song I ever learned to play on guitar was a song called A Day in the Life. True story. Total true story. I bought a Beatles songbook and I just practiced over and over and over again. I couldn't understand why I couldn't get it right. But then I kept thinking of my classical chops, and I kept thinking, oh, it must be the equivalent of Pour Embouchure. And I kept trying to finger the guitar in this Beatles songbook, and finally my mom's boyfriend at the time came home and said, what do you got that thing tuned like? And I says, I don't know, I just tuned it so that it would sound good. He said, no, man, that's not how you tune a guitar. He tuned it properly, and I went, bring. And it was the right chord, and it was beautiful, and I did the next chord, bang. And I did the next chord, and it was right, and I went, boom, I read the news. Well, I didn't go quite that fast, but I went, boom, I read the news today, oh boy. And I was like, all right. I felt like Sir Edmund Hillary, like I was like the man. And at that moment, I decided, it was the first time I ever really played pop music. And I was like going, I'm not going back. And I was going forward. So to get to that story about the card on the bulletin board, this was only about maybe a year and a half, 2 years tops that I had read that card and picked up that guitar. And my first professional job was playing guitar on a TV show called Sesame Street. First job. And the reason why I said I wanted to speak to you from my heart and soul is because prior to getting that job on Sesame Street, I was still somewhat of a geek. As a matter of fact, I had my head in the clouds because I could read music, I could write anything. It was, you put it in front of me, I could do it, and I could hear it in my head. All of my early orchestrations I did in my head. I didn't even need like manuscript paper. I could just do it. And I remember practicing for a gig that my teacher wanted me to sub for. And he looked at me and he says, Niall, why do you have such a sour look on your face? And I said, well, man, if you look at the set list tonight, I got to play, since you used a little profanity, I'm going to say exactly what I said. I said, I got to play these bullshit pop songs. And he says, what do you mean by that? I said, well, look at this set list. I says, one of the first songs I got to play is Sugar Sugar by the Archies. And he said, well, what's bullshit about that? And I said, it's horrible. I said, it goes, sugar, bum, 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 bum. Oh, honey, honey, bum, 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 bum. And my teacher, who is totally not a pop guy, he's a serious jazz guitar player, looked at me and said, so am I to assume that you believe you're the ultimate consumer? And I was stopped dead in my tracks. I was like, whoa, here's a jazz guy, and he doesn't have this horrible opinion about this song by the Archies. And then finally I said, well, because I like to just play great compositions. And he looked at me and he says, that is a great composition. I said, wait a minute, are you trying to tell me that Sugar Sugar is a great composition? He says, absolutely, Niall. Don't you understand that any song that gets into the top 40, now in those days in America, if you got into the top 40, you probably sold 1 million records or more. He said, don't you know that any song that gets into the top 40 is a great composition? And I said, why would you call that a great composition? He says, because it speaks to the souls of 1 million strangers. It totally changed my life. It changed my perspective. He brought my ego down from up there to way down there. And 2 weeks later, I wrote a song that went, everybody dance, do-do-do-do, clap your hands, clap your hands. And I did it with heart and soul and passion. And I just want to say to you, keep an open mind, be passionate, be brave. Never, ever, ever think that you're crazy. Well, you can do that, but only for a moment. I just want to say good luck to you all. I love this institution. I love you guys. Thank you, Sir Paul, for writing. I read. And thank you for having me become a companion.
Lovely story. Thank you. Now I get my name.
Foundation Certificate in Commercial Dance, Thomas Stephen Acott. Connie Allen.
Thank you.
Emily Bainbridge. Daisy Barrett. Leah Maria Burkhoff. Olivia Sophie Bryan. Cassie Ellen Davenport. Amelia Dodds. With distinction, Carly Jane Hopkins. Kennedy Brooke Jones. Yana Tiffany Jones. Georgia May Langton. Emma Louise Love. Frances Jeannie Maxwell. Melissa Louise Middleton. Aidan Jack Page.
Hi, thank you.
Amy Louise Quayle. Megan Jacqueline Reese Jones. Thank you. With distinction, Charlie Kate George Roberts. Eleanor Louise Sheeran. Megan Elizabeth Smith. Emily Victoria Watton. Amber Deanne War. With distinction, Georgina Wood. Olivia Wright.
For the foundation's... Thanks, John. For the Foundation Certificate in Popular Music and Music Technology, Yegor Goldobin. With distinction, Antonio Michaelis Noblausch. Kyla Amy Mitsui Russell. Sam Ryu. Hege Sky Muckelbost. And Holly Mimi Bernice Wright.
Now, we have two honoured friends this year, and a slight change of tone. It was really uplifting, I don't know whether you felt this, to read the story of those 12 Thai boys and their coach. And one of the uplifts was the triumph for a rather quieter, less fashionable human virtues, like self-sacrifice, grace, and honour. Consider being in the dark for a single hour in cold, unfamiliar place. Now put yourself in an underground maze, surrounded by water, creatures, smells, and the possibility of death. Imagine how they must have coped individually and as a team. The boys' coach was the weakest person to be rescued because he refused to eat any of the meagre provisions they had. He was the last out. And then there were the rescuers, some of them British, insisting after their life-saving work on staying in the shadows. Did it strike you that one of the themes of this summer has been modesty instead of grandstanding, team effort instead of ego? Every England player thanked not just the fellow players, but the staff, the people who managed and washed their kit and massaged their aches. Nor did their manager consider for a minute milking national goodwill with a homecoming parade. Heroes don't showboat. They hold the world quietly together. And if they do ever receive a medal, they keep it in a drawer. During every gracious curtain call, the cast applaud the people who make the show possible. We do that here. And we'll be very shortly giving awards for our departing students who exemplify this spirit. We call it the Human Spirit Awards. And now we honour two people. Yes, they have a public profile, but it's what they do behind the scenes for us, for our students, without reward. And they're being brought into the limelight now. And the first award is to Maria Walker. So Maria, could you stand up, please? Maria, it's good to see you here again, particularly this time, since you're about to become an honoured friend. It was November 2013 when you first wrote to us wondering if a relationship might be created between ourselves and Twickenham Studios. We receive approaches from time to time, and more often than not, they just fizzle out. But not this one. In short order, we sent up a summer internship programme, which is still running. And because of this, you employ 4 of our graduates, nearly a third of your sound department. 2 of them, Sophia and Will, won awards at this year's Cinema Audio Society Awards in the LA. Never knowingly undersold, we see Twickenham as sort of LIPA on the Thames. It's tempting for any institution to take credits for graduates' accolades and achievements, but we shouldn't. What we do is prepare students for a lifetime of learning. You constantly sing our praises and those of our graduates. You send your members of your team to us for masterclasses, and they provide their assistance when we're looking at our program again to see what we can do better. In your professional life, you not only save Twickenham Studios from closure, but you are now bringing Twickenham Studios to Liverpool. With a studio base in the former Littlewood site. Not only will this be the best opportunity for our students and graduates, but another shot in the arm for the creative industries in the north. And of course, Liverpool, where you were born. In Speak, no less. As was somebody else in the room. It is hard not to smile when I learnt you had an Italian mother. And so you were the only family on your estate who had scouse containing kidney beans, garlic, and pasta. So how could you not become an honoured friend? Maria, you leave this ceremony as an honoured friend. Thank you. You don't seem to be getting a gown. I don't know why. Stand up and have your picture with Paul, anyway. No, you're going to just be photographed together.
Signed, sealed, delivered?
Let's take the hat.
Yours.
Maria, are you going to say something? Or are you just going to wander off? You could, but we'd like to hear from you.
It's very difficult to follow the likes of Nile Rodgers. And one of the disadvantages of being one of the last people to speak is you've written the speech and then you sit there and hear, yeah, I was going to make that comment. And Dean, you took my line about being kind. But I shall pick through this, and what's left, the remnants of my speech, I shall try and share with you. I would like to thank LIPA, Mark, Sir Paul, and an unsung hero, John Thornton, who is the head of sound technology, who is the person who we've got the easy part. They provide the kids with the tools, then they turn up with us, and they are outstanding, and what you've achieved here is amazing. They are by far the most qualified and savvy students we've had from institutes across the country. I'm very proud that it happens to be in my hometown. I'd like to say thank you for having this opportunity, because as a homegrown girl, my school used to have their prize giving in this very hall. Sadly, I never made it onto the stage. So I would just like to say, if only Sister Rachel were here to see this, she'd be quite surprised. Now, we try to give guidance and things to the students, but I'd like to just give some assurance to the parents, because I know you guys have made, as I have as a parent, a huge financial commitment to their education. Well, don't worry, it's been well spent in this case. The standard is fantastic, and as I say, we employ 4 LIPA graduates, and we refer to them as our own Fab 4. Over to the graduates. It's over to you now. You've been given the tools. Don't be afraid to use them. For the female members of the graduates, don't be intimidated. You're right. You've got as much right to do anything as any bloke, although sometimes you might feel that you haven't. You'll make mistakes, we all do, learn from them. And I'm going to reiterate it, be kind, it goes a long way. Thank you.
Nigel, would you stand? Actually, Nigel's already got the costume on. Did you notice? Not surprising. He's the Vice-Chancellor of Liverpool John Moores University. Now, this citation, Nigel, is going to be quite personal because that's the nature of our relationship. Oh gosh, that doesn't come. I hope this will go. Since we've been in existence for coming up to 23 years, there have been 3 vice-chancellors of Liverpool John Moores University. The first one bravely took us under his wing because nobody knew quite who we were. And recognizing a good idea, they were uncertain how we would manage the higher education culture. Without doing any disservice to Peter Toyne, the quality of the professional relationship that we have, as well as the quality of the relationship Alison and I have with you and Barbara, has been unprecedented. Since soon after you arrived, you reached out to us in a way that no other LGMU VC has done by simply inviting us to an evening meal. There have been 4 since then. Which has meant when institutional shock happens, or when the peculiarities of various higher education attributes need challenging, you've been prepared to give us serious time. 2 years ago, we experienced a consistently flawed funding process by HE's funding council that completely removed our specialist funding. Every Liverpool Vice-Chancellor came to the same conclusion, and wherever you are, Gerald Pillay from Hope University, thank you as well. You travelled to Cheltenham, where they were based, just for us. That particular saga has yet to complete, and nor will it until we receive justice. Although you're an engineer by trade, specialising in civil, mechanical and aerospace, that doesn't really sound like specialisation. Just illustrative of your range, you have a passion for the performing arts. I've sat beside you and witnessed you on fire describing the relationship between the arts and the sciences. You serve on the Arts Council North. You're chair of the orchestra that performs in this very building. And we serve together on the board of that unique Liverpool theatre, the Royal Court, where you were just about to become chair. As with Maria, how could you not become an honoured friend? So, dear Nigel, thank you for taking the break from LGMU's 10 ceremonies to come to ours and become an honoured friend.
Well, Mark, Sir Paul, distinguished guests, and of course, students, graduates, I would like to begin by thanking you, Mark, for those words. I believe there's a phrase which says, don't believe anything until it's been officially denied. I will remain silent on that point. But the comments that you made very much reverberate with just the few short words that I would like to say. That yes, I arrived in Liverpool some 7 years ago, and just a few short weeks after that, we did meet with Alison, your wife, my wife Barbara, and what really came across from that was your passion, your absolute passion and commitment to LIPA, and to the belief in high quality education, opportunities for all, and the importance of arts, creativity in our present society. And I took away from that absolute commitment. And then over the next few weeks, I got to know LIPA more, better, and realized that this was truly a world-class, world-leading institution here in Liverpool. And that you, Sir Paul, the governors, and all the students, you should all be incredibly proud of that. And this is where I'd like to just pause and make my first comment to all the students, graduates, certificate holders, etc. And that is, there's been a lot of applause this afternoon
quite rightly so, distinguished companions. For each of you, as you've come across the platform, met with yourself, Mark, Sir Paul. But what I'd really like you to do is, first of all, take the message that you must always be incredibly proud of LIPA. And tell everybody, tell everyone you meet the opportunities that you were given, the excellent teaching that you experienced, and how, perhaps you don't fully understand it at this time, how that experience has and will change your life in the future. And I wonder if I could ask all the students, this is a hall, Philharmonic Hall for sound, to fill this hall with sound in appreciation of the visionary work of your leader, Mark, Sir Paul, the governors, all the teaching staff, in just a round of applause for everything they've done for you. Thank you. I'm sure Mark, Sir Paul, the governors, all the staff, all the administrators really appreciated that. But then my second and final point, that LIPA here in 2018, looking to the future, looking to a positive future, however difficult the times are occasionally, and that is true for institutions as it is true for individuals. But it doesn't occur by chance. It requires a vision. It requires a commitment. Likewise, in your own lives, as today is a milestone, your destiny, your future is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for, to be imposed upon you by others. It is a thing to be achieved. Well, today, you have achieved. And the experience that you've had with LIPA has prepared you for the future. Good luck, well deserved, and I wish you all the very best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigel. Now, before we listen to the people who've won prizes, let's hear, as we always do, from one of our graduates. And this is always very important for us, because that's why we exist. In a few years' time, we'll be hearing from one of you. We choose a different discipline every year, and this year it's music. And this year is a bit special, because our very first graduates left us in 1998, which is exactly 20, sorry. It was going so well until then. No, perhaps it wasn't. Anyway, 20 years ago today. And David was one of them. David.
That's right, as Mark says, I was in your position exactly 20 years ago, and I can remember it not being a doddle getting to this point, so well done, congratulations. If you're feeling anything like I did on my graduation day, then it might take some time and distance for you to truly appreciate the experience you've had. So immersed was I in my time here that I rarely stopped to look up from the various projects to take it all in. It was only as the years went by after leaving that it became apparent just how invaluable the lessons I learnt here were. Back in 1995, it was an exciting time. We were an eclectic bunch, all learning from each other, and as we were the very first intake, it was great to be part of such a pioneering project. I remember being genuinely floored by other people's talents, and mutual respect was encouraged here, and that spurred us all on to bring the best out in each other. I came to LIPA as a music student, but such was the cross-disciplinary approach that I wasn't just going to play the piano. Perhaps some of your stories have been similar. Music classes were cool, but so was songwriting, getting involved as an actor in projects, learning how to direct singers as a director, studying the tech and the business side, and attending masterclasses by industry legends, such as those here today. And it's this willingness to participate that I think has stood me in good stead throughout my career. I've never wanted to let things pass me by, even if I was scared, as I was coming here to do this today. I remember feeling nervy about whether or not I'd even sustain a career doing this hobby that I'd enjoyed so much since I was a little kid. It seemed wild to me that it would actually work out. In fact, I told the Duke of Edinburgh about those concerns. I met him in 1998 after some of us LIPA students were invited to perform at Buckingham Palace. It was an amazing thing. I shook his hand and I voiced my concerns about going into this particular industry. And he just smiled, looked at me and said, "Oh well, I'm sure you'll find something to do." Great. But it turns out he was right, actually, thankfully. I set about behaving the exact same way that I had when I was here at LIPA, saying yes to everything, getting involved. I'd always say yes to the gig, even if I wasn't sure how I was going to pull it off, and worry about that later. As I moved through different corners of the industry, it became clear that the way we treated our peers here at LIPA was the way to achieve the best results. That ethos, which has been mentioned many times before me today, that ethos of respect for what each individual brings to the table is key. In this industry, people that are making you tea today, and it's been said before, people that are making you tea today could be very successful artists or producers tomorrow. It's very important to be cool with whoever you meet. I now spend most of my time working as music director on The Voice TV show. One of the members of my team is Mats Hauge, a Norwegian. Could you guess where I met him? Actually, I often meet and work with ex-students, and it's always a pleasure to do that. The people you rub shoulders with here and are influenced by will stay with you throughout your lives, even if they aren't actually present. So, I wish you all the best for your futures, truly. And I hope you have as much fun as I've had over the last 20 years. Thank you.
The conferment of prizes. Dave Wibberley confers the Avidus Zildjian Prize for percussion on Stephanie Ball. Martin King confers the Beatles Story Prizes for music on Liam Crosby, Shay McChrystal and Sean Potter. Catherine Noland confers the Charcoal Blue Theatre Design Prize on Sarah Hazelgrove. Tony Thornton confers the Eden Ravenscroft Prize for Creative and Technical Excellence on Alex Gardner. Gemma Bodinay confers the Everyman and Playhouse Prize for Stage Design on Kirsty Barlow. Steve Levine and Tony Platt confer the Music Producers Guild Award for Music Production and Recording on Samuel Baker. Andreas Sennheiser confers the Sennheiser Student Achievement Award for Performing Arts Sound Technology on Jan Pickup. Andreas Sennheiser confers the Sennheiser Studio Excellence Award for studio recording production on Morenius Alvareng. David Walton and Liz Wilkinson confer the AMS Neve Prize for Audio Post-Production on Will Stanton. David Stark confers the Songlink Prize for Best Song, musically and lyrically, on Alexandra Dunaway for Darling. David Stark confers the Songlink Prize for Best Contemporary Song on Ari Graw and Leo Elsa for You and Me. Sarah E. Baker confers the Broadway Dance Centre Prize on Jennifer Moore. Arthur Bernstein confers the E.A. Bernstein III Prize on Connor D. Leo. Tyza Stefanska confers the Joan Plowright Lady Olivier Acting Prize for Performance on Martha Godber. Tyza Stefanska confers the Joan Plowright Lady Olivier Acting Prize for Ensemble on Elena Maria Pando. Tyza Stefanska confers the LIPA Dance Prize on Laura Haig. Tyza Stefanska confers the Anthony Field Producer Prize on Joshua Davis. Tyza Stefanska confers the Anthony Field Producer Prize, the LIPA Prize for Management on Natasha Brooks. Tyza Stefanska confers the LIPA Community Drama Prize for Facilitation on Holly Campbell. Tyza Stefanska confers the LIPA Community Drama Prize for Directing on Stephanie Peat.
Now, to this year's Philip Holt Prizes that culminate with the Mccartney Human Spirit Award. This is a unique part of our ceremony because these special awards exemplify our values and celebrate the personal attributes we feel are most important. They rejoice in the qualities that are not necessarily recognized by degrees and certificates, such as being encouraging and caring to others, being a positive team player, being dignified and helpful in moments of crisis, and most importantly, approaching life and work with a sense of humour. The emphasis we place on collaboration is fundamental to us as artists and as humans. It's not just about being good at the job, but it's about being the person other people want to work with. These awards are particularly special because they have been nominated by staff and by many students sitting here now.
Above our main entrance, there is a motto of the original Boys Institute, not born for ourselves alone, but for the whole world. These noble and selfless qualities add value to life. This is what we mean by human spirit. Our thanks to the P.H. Holt Charitable Trust and Paul for their financial support. Now, the following people, although they're not receiving a prize today, deserve an honorable mention. Musician Christopher McCune, and dancer Amber Zamora.
This year there are 3 commendations, a Philip Holt Prize, and the final award, the Mccartney Human Spirit Prize. Our first commendation goes to a student who, as everyone in our wardrobe department commented, constantly goes above and beyond, is always accommodating, always high-spirited, and always looking out for her peers. As a member of staff said, she encompasses our spirit in the best way possible. She's always been massively supportive of her colleagues and has always taken part in the creative process with a smile on her face. And another said, she's been a consistently joyful presence. She's one of the most selfless students I can remember teaching. She strives for and achieves great work, but is always considering others, taking on their opinions and pushing them to be part of each endeavour. She is a true collaborator. Our first commendation goes to Sasha Gilmore.
Right. Our second commendation is recognized because he's the very embodiment of the qualities most valued in a professional facilitator. As one member of staff says, he's tenacious, curious, humble, and creative. He's able to inspire the same qualities in people he works with, be they peers or community participants. Principled but encouraging, courteous yet challenging, he never failed to find time to support his peers with sage advice. Pragmatic in adversity and compassionate in a crisis, this is a student who, through holding himself to high standards, inspired others to do the same, and in the process made an art of maintaining a level of professionalism when others would have given up. Our second commendation goes to Luke Tallboys.
Our third commendation goes to a student who has taken key roles in the projects he's been involved in, spending lots of time helping and supporting other students. A common theme that comes back from those students that he's helped is that he's friendly, approachable, patient, and so often goes well beyond the call of duty when they need extra assistance. A member of staff says, "What touched me most about his obvious care and compassion for others was demonstrated outside of the classroom. He'd spotted that someone he knew was having a very difficult time and was really struggling. He came to talk to us in strict confidence as he was worried about them and wanted to make sure that they got the support they needed. He did this in a very sensitive and careful way and with the person's absolute best interest at heart." A heartwarming commendation goes to Jan Pickup.
And now to this year's Philip Holt Prize. This goes to a student who has always been on hand to help those who find tasks difficult and has always been a friendly face to talk to. A member of staff says, "He's one of those students who just makes our lives easier, a committed individual who makes every effort to ensure that all of his peers are doing well, a truly selfless individual who always has time for others." Another one adds, "As well as being a talented and hard-working guitarist, he is also a committed producer, working with other students on their original work as well as his own compositions. He has always carved out additional work as a music journalist and has made ties within the Liverpool music scene. As a fellow student says, he has been a constant help tutoring me with university work, as well as other people on the course who find lots of things a little harder. He's a canny, funny man who came from India and embraced a different world. I would not be here right now if it wasn't for him. I see a great future in all he does just by being the person he is." A well-deserved Philip Holt Prize goes to Aman Khan.
And now, the Mccartney Human Spirit Prize. This prize has been awarded posthumously to someone who received 51 nominations, an unprecedented number. She was with us briefly. She joined in the second year, but her stay was cut short after she entered the third year. However, during her time here, she fully integrated herself with the course and other students and made a huge contribution to the management degree, to us and to the world beyond. She was involved in a variety of projects, including producing a networking conference for women working within the creative industries and an initiative to set up a talent agency for our performers. Her involvement with our music tube performances ensured that she networked with most of our disciplines and was a valuable member of the team. She liaised with staff and our heads of disciplines, who were eventually convinced and won over by her infectious enthusiasm, determination, and never say never attitude. Here's a selection of heartfelt comments.
She was a truly kind, generous, and wonderful person for embodying the spirit of our management discipline with her work ethic, empathy for others, and constant positive attitude.
Despite her own serious medical condition, She continued to work selflessly and tirelessly in order to help others who might find themselves in her position.
She was one of the most kind, dedicated and hard-working people I have ever had the pleasure of knowing and being friends with. She was impossibly selfless and wanted to see everyone succeed. She is known throughout the uni for her work on various projects and really believed in everything we stand for.
It is quite rare you meet someone and have not a single negative thought or feeling towards them. However, she was one of those people, an incredibly genuine, kind, and hard-working person of whom we were lucky to have met and studied alongside on the course.
Her passion for life was infectious, and she will always be in our hearts and memories.
The Mccartney Human Spirit Prize for 2018 goes to Siobhan McGann.
Yeah, this is always a very emotional event for me, and today particularly so, with memories of Siobhan. Yeah, one of the reasons why it's emotional for me is I came to LIPA, which was then called Liverpool Institute High School for Boys, when I was 11 years old, and got a really good education, you know, because it was free. It was a state school. And for me, being in this building, the Philharmonic, I'm always seeing my mum and dad up here, who came to the speech day for the school, you know. And so this means a lot to me, my family. I've got my brother here with me today, and he went to LIPA as well. And so it's like a really special place, a special school. And as was said earlier, the motto of the school, well, actually we came here and the head boy at the time would read a speech in Latin. We're all going, what's he talking about? We haven't got a clue. You know, first in arbus, side, we go, yeah, sure. But the one bit of Latin we did know was the school motto, which was non nobis solum sed toti mundo nati, because we all had to say that, you know, on cue. And it means not for ourselves were we born, but for the whole world. And that turned out to be true. You know, I went to the school, so my brother went, George Harrison went to the school, and we got a really good education. We didn't know it. That's also been said. We had no idea what was going on. It's only now, looking back on it, I think, that was amazing, you know. But it gave us a spirit that we celebrate in here today. I think, for me, one of the things I'd remind the students of, which you know already, is that this school is in the business of giving pleasure to people all around the world. And in all the disciplines, everyone brings pleasure. You can't say that for every organization or every school or every industry. But here, with all the disciplines, you're going to give such pleasure to people. And that's just a fantastic thing, you know. I'm so proud of that because, again, we didn't start out trying to do that. In truth, you know, once we sort of formed a band, we just wanted money, girls, the usual stuff, you know. You know, but it turned out to be so much more than that. And I'm very proud because after our music went global, I would get people coming up to me and saying, oh, I've just been studying for the exams, it's been so hard, but I was listening to your music and it saw me through. So these little kind of bonuses, I'm going, yeah, you know, I didn't intend this. And I've had people come up to me and say, my kid had cancer and he listened to your music and it saw him through. He came through. So these kind of bonuses are like just so amazing. But that is what we do. Unintentionally often, we bring pleasure to people. And that is such an important thing, particularly in these troubled times, which, you know, a lot of people are going through sort of doubt as to whether this is all going to work out. But Niles just turned to me here just when, during one of the speeches, and he said, these kids give me hope for the future. And I totally agree. That's why I enjoy coming up here every year. It's such an uplifting thing for the parents, the friends, the relatives who come here. Thank you all for bringing these kids into the world and bringing them here to us. So it's a great community thing, you know, that we're all feeling. And I just want to thank all you guys for putting in this hard work, and it worked out. You're doing great. And so as I say, this week's been a really nostalgic one for me because I started the week playing a gig in Abbey Road, which reminded me of all the times I was recording with my mates. Then on Wednesday I came to LIPA and did a Q&A and a little show for the students. And again, that reminded me of my school days and everything that had been going on there and the great benefits I got from that. And then yesterday I ended up at the Cavern, rocking away like it was yesterday, you know. But, so yeah, I'm really grateful for the start that Liverpool, this school, my parents gave to me. And I just want to wish everyone the very best. You are all totally brilliant, and I love you all. And I wish you just the very best for the future.
Well, listen, folks, you're nearly there, because in a few moments you'll be formally admitted for the qualifications you've achieved by Nigel, who's the Vice-Chancellor of Liverpool, John Moores, and me. And this short address is in three parts. First part is looking back at our 2014 graduates, and a plea, as always, to hear what you are doing next. My little note about government and education, and ending with something close to a prayer. Now, we look forward to hearing about your professional lives, which will appear in this publication. And some of you can pick these up when you leave, I hope you will. Because what we do here is profile students who left 3-4 years earlier. So this one's in 2018, and the students we are profiling this time graduated, sorry, it's 2018 now, 14 is in here. The latest edition, we found 82% of those graduates, same as last year. 91% are in work, 82% in the performing arts. The discipline figures varied from 100% for our sound technology students the mid-80s for our designers. Now, listening to graduates who regularly return to update us on what is going on work, employment, we've added 2 new features to this magazine. One is the way in which our graduates help other graduates find work. And on the front cover, you'll see a picture of Madeleine Appiah on step with Idris Elba. Her helping hand was Natalie Gallagher, who was Pippa Alien, one of our companions' right hand. And the second feature we've added are the students who've started businesses on their own, more than one-person businesses. Without the roughly 500,000 we've donated since we started, we've discovered that graduates have created 160 new businesses, many employing other graduates. So, your professional modules do pay off. And to echo one of Ian's opening remarks, your news is critical. So it helps us, checks us on and it helps us realize why we exist, which is sustained work, nothing else. Now, my annual moment of protest about the madness created by our political elites. Those of you who've been here before will be familiar with this because for the last 4 years, I've been banging on about Michael Gove's educational blight, especially with his creation of the so-called English Baccalaureate, which removes creative disciplines from the core of our secondary schools. I read last month that figures published by the Department of Education show that registrations for arts GCSEs were down 51,000 on last year. And that's 150,000 since 2014. Or put it another way, that's a 25% drop in 5 years. Or, as Mr. Gibb, the Minister for Schools, prefers to put it, quote, since the introduction of the EBAC, the percentage of pupils taking arts GCSEs has remained stable. And while we're on the topic of government mendacity, really should use that word, it's a great word, mendacity, you may not be aware that schools are grappling with a real term reduction of 4.6% of their budgets. 2.8 billion has already been cut since 2015. Or, as the Education Secretary Damien Hines prefers to put it, there is more money going into the schools in this country than ever before. A final observation. We use 2 teaching methodologies. They're exactly the same for our primary and our sixth form. Project-based learning and deliberate practice. The main idea of the second is continually upping your game, which isn't fun. So why does our political system ignore such a potent, successful way of learning? Heads of government departments appear to start from scratch. No better example than our Secretaries of State for Education. How many have we had in the last 30 years? We've had 14. How can you run a world-class education system if the person in charge changes every 2 years? Where's the expertise? Where's the learning from mistakes? Where's the upping your game? Estelle Morris, who gave us a splendid Roscoe lecture, sponsored by John Moore, so thank you, Nigel, about the uneasy relationship between politics and education. And she was the only Secretary of State who had actually taught, who knew from experience what she was talking about. So why are we allowing politicians to determine the curricula in our schools when they don't know what they're talking about and simply repeating what somebody else has told them without testing it for themselves? Just imagine the expertise of our companions today, the expertise of our teaching staff. Just imagine how well our students would be doing, and our graduates, if the teacher had never done what they had taught, where they were teaching. That's what we have. Okay, now to the third and final part. And I hope something here, soon to graduate students, resonates with your heart. Go placidly amidst the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be of silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with everyone. I see somebody actually knows this. Speak your truth quietly and clearly. Someone's mentioned this already. I think it was Niall. Or was it Niall? Maybe not. If you continually compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Life is difficult. This is a great truth, the first of Buddha's 4 noble truths, and it's a great truth because once we understand it, we can transcend it. Life is not easy, nor should we expect it to be. The difficulties we face and overcome help us evolve. Solving problems requires courage and wisdom. Solving problems creates courage and wisdom. Facing and resolving problems helps us learn, helps us grow. And if it's easy, we're not learning. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Don't be afraid of aiming high. Everyone was nobody at some point. Be cautious in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to the virtue that there is. Many people strive after high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love. For in the face of aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Love is not just a feeling, it's a commitment. Whoever and whatever we love is who we are. Nurture the strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. Don't distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. And beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You're a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul, with all its shams, drudgery, and broken dreams. It is still a beautiful world. Thank you. Nigel, Vice-Chancellor and Chief Executive, by the virtue of a mandate of the Academic Board of Liverpool John Moores University, these members of the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts are to be admitted for their awards.
Mark, could I please ask the graduates, the awardees, to please stand. So as Vice-Chancellor of Liverpool John Moores University, it is my great pleasure and privilege to be able to say, by the powers vested in me by the governing body and the academic board, I bestow upon you the degrees, diplomas and awards to which you are entitled. You are now graduates and alumni of the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts and Liverpool John Moores University. Many, many congratulations.
Your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but they are not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You can give them your love,